Hi, I'm Dr. Sally Foote, and welcome to today's Facebook Live. I am a veterinarian and an animal behaviorist with over 35 years in general practice experience with a behavior focus. I teach and have online education for low-stress veterinary care, as well as in this Bella Behavior Learning Center that I'm in. I'm starting immersion, hands-on, one-on-one staff training courses starting March 6th. This March 6th for Feline Handling Day, and then on March 13th we're going to do a dog and cat handling day for the essentials. And then you can watch for, I will have some other dates for advanced handling and repeat it throughout the year. Well, today's topic, we're going to learn about why do dogs like to eat frozen stool. I am sitting here looking out the window across from me at basically a snowstorm coming down on central Illinois. We are expecting approximately 12 to, I believe, 16 inches to fall in my region over the next 24 to 36 hours. And it got me thinking a lot about what clients would tell me, you know, what their pets would do, or sometimes call wondering, he's acting crazy, he's doing these funny things. One of the leading things that clients would ask about or tell us about would be that the dog liked to eat frozen poop, frozen stool. And maybe they ate stool in the backyard normally, maybe the client never noticed, but when they'd be maybe walking their dog or watching their dog outside, because especially if they were a small dog, you know, they didn't want to be covered up with snow, they see them almost really seeking this stool outside. And I did a little reading about this when, you know, clients asked me about it and found it actually kind of interesting. To the dog, of course, they're very attracted to smell and texture and sniffing out and smelling objects, you know, whether it's a food object or a plant, or another dog may have had their stool or another animal. That's what the dog is smelling out. And of course, a big way that dogs process things is to actually put it in their mouth and chew it up. There's a big difference in how things smell to the dog when they're not frozen versus frozen, when they're dehydrated and dried out versus kind of, you know, wet, when there's a lot of humidity around them. And the frozen stool, it just apparently has some very marked, you know, texture and smell differences to the dog that it's very attractive to a lot of dogs. So it can be kind of unsightly for the dogs to get into it. One of, I guess, the good things is freezing will oftentimes reduce or kill off a lot of bacteria. It may also kill off some other infectious agents and parasite eggs. I wouldn't rely on it wholly, but at least frozen stool is not as contagious for a lot of the diseases we could see dogs pick up from this, it's called coprophagia, from eating stool. So I kind of would like to discourage dogs from doing it as best we can. But what it tells me, though, is that the dog is really wanting to do more sniffing and engagement in the space. Okay, so it's like a bored dog. And yes, in the wintertime like this, on a day like today, your dog, their feet make it cold, so they don't want to stay outside as long. And remember, now with the dirt being frozen, you know, the grass is frozen, they aren't, those things, you know, that space is not as smelly, it's not as like fun, it's not as engaging, what we call enriching. So we want to help enrich the dog's day. We want things to be less boring for them, especially on these wintry days. So here's a couple of things that I would recommend to my clients that really helped a lot. First of all, get rid of the food bowl. I don't want your dog should stop eating out of a food bowl as soon as that snow really flies, or it's really rainy out, or you have freezing rain, you know, where you can't have the dog outside. Instead, all of their food is going to be earned for hide and seek type games or through food puzzles. We want the dog to start to work out their brain. So here are a couple of examples of the food puzzles I'm talking about. These purple ones, it's pretty much the signature color from the premier, well, I guess now it's Pet Safe Corporation. And these are more difficult. You want the more difficult food puzzles. Okay, we don't want just the, Nina Otten makes some excellent ones that kind of spin around, but it's really better for the dog to take something like this and have to pick it up and bounce it, it bounces, to knock out the food pellets. Now, I don't know if you can see, but in this brand of food puzzle, part of the difficulty is, compared to, say, the Kongs, is that there are little flanges on the inside. So you take the nuggets of dog food and you actually stuff it right into here. I'm going to grab some real quick and to show you how to do it. So here's my little jar of food. I know it sounds simple, but what you want to have happen is really pour the food down in there like that, okay? And so now when it rolls around, it's more limited in how much is going to fall out, especially if the pellets are bigger. This is kind of small pelleted feed. And you want to maybe even take it to the top of the stairs to show your dog, bouncing it down the stairs, because that'll help to knock it out. Plus now the dog will learn to take the food puzzle, go to the top of the stairs and bounce it down. It's more fun. He's getting more exercise. So this is one of the ones from the Pet Safe company. This one is called Barnacle. It comes in a couple sizes. And each little rounded segment has those same little flanges. So you can stuff the dog food in there. And again, they can bounce it, or they can, this one's a little easier to pick up for the dog to chew. So if you dogs who like to chew a lot, this one is really very good. It's very safe. You can also take canned food and freeze it in here. That will have it last longer. But really the point I'm making is that we want them to work for their food to engage their brain and break, some of the boredom. Another kind of idea is if you have, this one is like kind of a macrame, if you will, rope toy. And the little spaces like in between, each wrap, you could shove, where's my food nuggets here? You could shove a food nugget in there like so. Let's get you in there. Okay, so now the food nugget's in there, and that'll really help your dog, especially if they haven't, he doesn't like to play so much, to pick it up and to chew on it and to work that nugget out. You want them to figure out how to work that nugget out. So that helps to make it more engaging and more enriching for them. Other ways to break the boredom is to actually practice their obedience. Practice a couple come when called, sits, down. You can also groom them or brush them. Maybe start to train them for a trick. Lastly, we do want to keep up with the routines as best we can. So getting up at the same time of the day, feeding them. Granted, you're not going to have it in a bowl. You're going to load up these food puzzles, but have it be at the same time that you normally would with their, with their meal time. Finding some kind of games that are safe to play in the home. You might be able to do a little bit of fetch or practice those obedience, the obedience commands, and then, just try to keep things as the same as you can. When you take them outside, do take them outside safely. I mean, I don't want you to slip and fall, but it may be that 3 5-minute walks to manage the cold or the snow is equal to 1 15-minute walk for their exercise. And just, understand how they're may not be sniffing as much, or might sniff things and grab things like the frozen poop because of how things smell differently right now when it's frozen. Well, those are some tips to help break the boredom and understand why dogs grab crazy things when it's frozen outside. And then, of course, when it's thawed, they'll kind of go back to their normal behaviors. You can find out more about me at my website, drsallyjfoote.com. I have a lot of free handouts and YouTube channel and information about my education and courses, as well as behavior consults that I provide for clients, and I collaborate with your primary care veterinarian. Well, everybody have a great day and stay warm and safe. Bye-bye.